Good morning, or I guess afternoon. I film this in the morning. So, we are working on our first paycheck in the month of September. So, we are going to go over and close out August, which is not a big deal because we were on budget. So, we're going to close that up and then do our first week. I'm going to forewarn you, it is not exciting. It is not exciting at all. The low income week. Because that festival, I ended up, I wasn't here to drive and deliver groceries on Sunday. I always take Mondays off anyway, and I'm still out of town as is. So, Tuesday, I ended up getting in 4 a.m. on Tuesday, so I didn't drive on Tuesday. And then Wednesday and Thursday, I ended up having to do all sorts of things to get caught up on what I didn't do when I left the Thursday previously for the festival. So Friday I did go out to deliver some, and my mom called me after I started delivering, and she was like, "Hey, we haven't seen you in forever. Like, you need to come over and have a coffee with me and your sisters." And I'd been putting them off for quite some time because of trying to get ready for that festival that I ended up not having to get ready for anyway because it was so awful. But so I went and did that. I did go out Saturday morning. And then, yesterday I went out, and it's supposed to be my 12 to 14 hour day on Sunday. And I don't know if you can tell, but I am sick. I'm starting to feel a little bit better, actually. So tomorrow I might be able to go out. That's Monday. So I take Mondays off. My husband and I have a day together. But yesterday I started out not feeling great. And then I ended up driving for only like 6 hours because as the day wore on, it was just getting worse and worse. And then I got a fever. So I was like, okay, well, I'm done. I woke up this morning, still had a fever. I don't know. As I do a temp check on myself right now, like without actually doing a temperature, I think it's starting to go away. So anyway. Oh, and my husband got put on backup last weekend. So, okay. So here's the last week of August, right over here. You can see nothing changed. Nothing. We didn't have to add anything on. Nothing like that. So I'm not even going to bother like totaling this out because, the numbers are what they are. Over here for groceries, we ended up with an $11 rollover amount. So you guys know that I don't move my grocery money. At least not right now. Okay, so here is September and what this is looking like. Now I am running our budget. So I said before, I don't remember which video it was in, that I do our monthly kind of overview in every dollar, and that is true. So I can get the big picture. And I run that, sorry, all over grabbing this stuff. I run that on $5,000 a month. I was budgeting on $1,200 a week, but when I looked back over the last several months, 5,000 looks to be mostly our minimum amount that we would make. So just go over this really fast. As you can see, I decorate it a little bit, so I have to do that. But we have our checks here. I did not put like an amount because our income varies since I do the grocery delivery. My husband's income is pretty steady, but he does get put on backup sometimes, and that did happen last weekend. It's been happening. So I went back and looked like, when is he getting put on backup? And it tends to be like when they have worked him more than 40 hours a couple times throughout the month. And then that last week, if he has days where they worked him just over his 10-hour shifts, he ends up on backup. So, just trying to save themselves those, 3 hours of overtime or whatever at the end of the month. Anyhow, so there's that. But I have all of our actual bills on here. All the actual bills. So Yeah, you can see Straight Talk down there, 105. That will not be what we normally pay. We're switching one of our daughters is on Straight Talk now. The other one is on US Cellular with my husband and myself. So we're switching our daughter over to Straight Talk, and we'll need to get her a phone. Straight Talk phones are really inexpensive, so we'll be getting her that. She needed a different phone anyway because hers was destroyed. So yeah, there's that. Our US Cellular bill, I talked last month about how we are switching over, and we will. But it seems that I'm concerned about numbers porting over. So just in case that doesn't happen, we're going to maintain ourselves on US Cellular for this month because I do have a couple phone calls I'm like waiting for, and I don't want that to be, messed up like that. So over here, I have some important stuff. For instance, I am out of town the 18th through the 21st, also the 25th through the 27th for 2 fall festivals. The last one went horribly. I'd never done it before. These 2 I've not done before, but they're in the Kansas City area, and I always do really well in Kansas City. I've never done fall festivals there, but fall festivals are where it's at. That's when people come out and start buying stuff. Anyway, so our savings, I have on here that we have $2,125 left to fund. I'm going to double check that number. Double checking that. Our August income was $7,052. And that was a 5-check month, but we had 2 weeks that were low. So we have a September income goal. That income goal is $7,000, which comes out to $1,750 per week. That's going to be tough to hit. Yeah, that's going to be tough to hit, considering this week ended up being a low income week, and I'm out of town on these 2 festivals. So that's up in the air. And so when I'm out there, I won't be driving either. So, hang on. Okay, so with any luck at all, I will not only make up for what driving I'm missing or grocery delivery I'm missing, not only make up for that, but make more. So anyway, that is the hope for September. Now let's go back over here and look at, not there. Where are you? Let's look at right here. So anyway, ignore that. That's last week's menu plan. So here we go. So monthly budget category breakdown. We didn't do this last month because I didn't do it last month. But this is everything we have. This is our monthly budget. And then we will go through and do the monthly spent. You look at the difference and, make sure that a lot of these things are accurate. And this is running off of a $5,000 assumption. So that's why savings is like none, because all this other stuff just kind of sucks up $5,000. You can tell like a really big chunk is children. Like I was expecting, or I was thinking in my mind that this was going to be a lower month, but it is not. It is not. Because we have like scouting uniform to buy, and then something else. I got something else coming. But anyway, yeah. And we always have like my daughter's trip on here, which is now $277 a month. So I don't know. I'll get that paid off soon, and that'll free up all that money. Okay, so let's go over the week. We'll start out over here actually at the food, because I'm only budgeting $75 this week. So the same thing happened last month, right? The first week I budgeted $75. So I wonder if that's going to be a pattern. Anyway, so we had the $11 rollover, so we're actually working with $86 right there. Hold on. And that is not a big deal. Like if you guys don't watch my grocery haul videos, my menu planning, I have food in the freezer. The freezer is getting restocked, but food in the freezer, we always have quite a bit in the refrigerator, and I have a full pantry. So I am not concerned when stuff like this happens at all because we're prepared for that and more. Realistically, if we had to go the whole week without buying food, we could. If we had to go even an entire month or more, we could. So there's that. We just wouldn't be buying milk or dairy. So, but I don't know why I always have to do that. Well, I mean, anyway, let's just turn it back. Okay, so this is what we're working with. We have $300 cushion, $797 for regular income. That is so bad. Julia Business, $320. I went downtown on Friday. We have First Friday art walks here and managed to, this was the first Friday art walk where the students have returned. Young women are my primary demographic. So, yeah, $320. And I just have my 6-foot table, just my jewelry, and it's 2.5 hours. So yeah, that can go kind of crazy when the students are in town. So thankfully that happened. Unfortunately, this was so low that this is not extra income, which is the intent. But anyway, and we got a tiny little Rakuten refund of $6. I will have a slightly bigger one coming next time because my hotel stays for festivals are starting to hit that. They take a long time, but anyway. So this is the budget. We have a quarter of our mortgage as always. Our utility bill, and this is electric, gas, no, not gas, electric, water, sewer, and trash, $338. Ameren, $72. That's our natural gas bill. This is on level billing, and this went up by like $12. And I looked back at our usage, and the usage was actually lower. So, yeah, rate increase there. I thought Ameren requested that Missouri allow them to raise rates, and I thought it was just for rural Missouri. It does not seem to be the case. Anyway, I'll have to look at the percentage. Because I know in rural Missouri they were looking to do like a 30% increase, which that's crazy. But and they also do electric. A lot of electric in rural Missouri. So people out in the country are going to be hurting. Anyway, Scouts, my son's uniform. I looked it up. It's an estimate of $119. So that could change. I purchased the Budget by Paycheck workbook for next year. And I budgeted $66. Ended up being $66.66. I know this because I did it this morning. Food, $75. And, you know, I've already kind of pulled that out. Okay, so my daughter over the weekend ended up with a destroyed backpack. She's had it for a few years and it got destroyed. So ordered her another one this morning at $21.73. And then I went ahead and ordered some pet food from Walmart at $48 or $49.85. So let's do the actual math on that. Because you guys know, like if I'm short for something that I need, I just kind of, well, we have the cushion, but I also kind of look at that mortgage and I'm like, oh, if it's like $25, and I'll just pull $25 out of there and add $25 to the next week. Anyhow, so there's the mortgage, utilities. Oh, what the? 353 plus 338. There we go. Plus 72. Plus 119. Plus 66. Plus 75. Plus 2173. Plus 4985. Equals $1,094.58. Now I am trying to keep this not incorporating the cushion. I'm trying to keep that only using actual income. So let's check it. Well, let's do this. Oh, and if you guys notice, I changed these because in my mind, like, I think she calls these fixed expenses and variable. For me, a fixed expense, like, I just look at it as musts and then other. So that's what I did. Must, miscellaneous. Budget by Paycheck workbook. I have that in our miscellaneous category, but I view budget stuff as a must. And since this is what I use to do that, that is a must for me. So like if I used, or if you use like a budgeting app or anything like that, that's worth putting in your must, in my opinion. So anyway, granted there are free ways to do it and yada, yada, yada. I'm sure somebody's going to talk about that. But anyway, so let's look at the difference here. Let's go with actual income, which would be $11.23. We still have $28.42 left. Now, what I typically do with that is I would go back to my calendar and look and see, hey, do I have anything at all, coming down the line that extra can go ahead and cover? And I don't. And I don't like partially funding. I've done that in the past, like looked at this and said, oh, hey, look, it can partially fund the gym membership. I don't like doing that. I feel like it makes my account all wonky. I don't like that. So let's go up here. Currently we have leftover, we have the cushion, so $328.42. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. We have the checking cushion, 300. And then I'm going to tentatively say that that's going into that baby emergency fund. If something changes, something unexpected, then I will pull from there first, and we won't, have anything right there, which that won't be a big deal, really. So there we go. We have a zero-based budget for our first paycheck in the month of September. So let's go ahead and take a look at that September income goal and see just how crazy that is. So let's look at this. So $1,750 average. Obviously, this is going to up that average by quite a bit. Minus 7,000. So to hit that $7,000 goal, we need to make $5,877 in the next 3 weeks, which is $1,959. That is probably a little unrealistic. I will agree with people who say that. But I'm going to pause here and turn around, talk to you guys. So yeah, looking at it, it probably is a little bit unrealistic, but I don't care about that. I don't care about that at all. In fact, I like having a big goal. If we don't hit that 7,000, then just having that target that seems, like just out of reach is a good thing. And it can bring us even, close to the target. If we get close, that'll be a win. And again, I don't care if people say it's unrealistic. I've done all sorts of things that seem unrealistic. In the past, our income was just so incredibly low. We had to pull off like budgeting miracles, and we did. So I don't know. Will we hit that amount? Maybe not, but we are surely going to come much closer to it than if we did not have that set out there as a goal to begin with. That makes sense. So anyway, that is our first week. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it and, maybe get a little inspiration or just, feel like you've got somebody there, working toward the same things right along with you. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.